I find it incredibly ironic that roaches are like the most resilient insects and they can live through all sorts of crazy conditions, but then they somehow get flipped onto their back and they like struggle immensely to get turned back over, and then oftentimes they just die on their back. Just the irony of that is kind of crazy. It is already like 12:30. It's been raining all morning. I want to find a tarp. I ordered a tarp. It'll probably be here tomorrow or Friday. But in the meantime, I really want to get this compost covered because it's probably soaking wet now. That's not good. It's probably too wet. So I need to try to find a tarp. Or just something to cover it. Which, watch it not rain anymore now. If I should have put it out there this morning, but it was like raining and I didn't want to come out here. I'm just gonna go look at it. I mean, it is right underneath a tree, so it gets a little bit of protection from the tree, but it's definitely still getting wet. And these Mexican sunflowers are so nice and pretty. Those are Mexican sunflowers over in the yard, but then back here we planted some and they're like really tall. See how those are short right here, but then look at how tall these are. Okay, I realize you can't really tell, so I'm gonna walk over there. They're way taller than me. I'd say they're probably 8 to 9 feet tall. So this is me next to them. See how tall they are? They're beautiful. Yeah, it's definitely too wet. I'm probably gonna need to toss it around a bit before I add more material to kind of let the air get back in there, because when the water comes in, it kind of pushes the oxygen in the air out as the water helps everything settle down and push into each other. And you don't really want that. You really want good airflow. So I'm probably gonna have to toss it around, before I put on new material. And then when I get this new tarp, I'll toss it around and then put the tarp on, and then I can add more material in. That's probably what I'll do, rather than worrying about it right now. Like I said, it might not even rain again today. But if I happen to find a tarp or something, then I'll toss it on there. So before it does start raining again, let me get this bug out of my ear, first of all. I don't understand. Why do bugs fly into my ear? Like what does my ear look like a flower? Like what? I don't understand. Before it starts raining again, let me go ahead and harvest the okra that's ready for today. So only 3 today. I'm being really diligent in picking them when they're small. There's a whole lot growing, so I'm sure I'll have plenty more to harvest in the next week and even after that. I only got 3 today. Some of them are like really close to being ready. There's quite a few that are really close to being ready. I've shown these flowers before, the okra flowers, in the vlogs, but I don't know if I've ever talked about it, but they're like the prettiest flowers. Just like the petals are such a nice light yellow, and then with the dark like purplish red in the center, it's just so pretty to me. Uh-oh. Looks like the rain or the wind or the weight of the peppers or something broke a pepper limb. So I have to harvest the peppers on that one, which is fine. You can eat peppers when they're green. It's all, doesn't really matter. This is the Earthwise 15amp chipper shredder that I ordered. It came in just a minute ago. I did a whole lot of research on chippers and shredders. I didn't feel like spending a whole lot of money on like a good gas-powered chipper that I could use, that I could put, you know, pretty large, like large. There's some you can get for you know, $400 or $500 that can handle limbs, like, you know, pretty big. But number one, I just didn't really want to feel like getting a gas-powered one. They're just really loud and noisy. Loud and noisy. That's really good English. I don't know, and just the maintenance on them, I just wanted to try out an electric one. And so I did a lot of research on electric chipper shredders, and there's a few that, you know, people have done pretty decent reviews on and found them to be pretty good and reliable. But when it came down to cost effectiveness and the reviews on the product, this is the one that I chose. And a large part of the reason that I chose this one is because it has a bin that, it's like a really nice bin system at the bottom of it that catches all of the chips and the shredded pieces, and then you can just like pull it right out and then just take it where you want and dump it. But that wasn't what sold me on it, because that isn't really that necessary. Like, I wouldn't mind just, you know, having to shovel something or whatever, but this one is, the reviews on it were pretty good and the price was decent, so having that bin at the bottom just like kind of gave it that extra reason. So I'm gonna get everything out of the box and get it put together, and everything is really wet right now because it rained this morning, and I don't think these electric shredders, chipper shredders, are really good with things that are really wet, so I don't know. We'll see if I might find something dry that I can test it with today. Okay, that's it for assembly. The assembly was not difficult at all. The instructions were pretty clear. I think the most difficult part was just putting the axle in and making sure that the washers, I put the washers in the right place, and then the spacer, and then the wheel. I mean, it's not difficult, and the instructions just aren't like super clear, but there is a picture that kind of shows where all of those different elements go. And I think the wheels are nice. I mean, they're plastic wheels, but I think they're sturdy enough to where, you know, as long as you're not overly rough with them, it'll be fine. There's a nice handle here to lean it back with and kind of and to pull it with. The electrical cable here. You have dedicated start and stop buttons that are very obvious. I just spotted a bunny. I haven't seen them in a couple of days, but they're still here. Sorry, I got distracted by the blue-tailed lizard, but you know, you guys have seen the rabbits around here, but you haven't seen a blue-tailed lizard because I haven't been able to get one on film, because every time they see me they run away. But that one actually let me film him, so that was cool. We have blue-tailed lizards everywhere here, and as a kid we would always try to catch them, but those will actually kind of try to bite at you. We have little tiny green lizards everywhere too, and those don't really bite, so we would catch those all the time. But safety first. Okay, I just wanted to test a few, and now I'm going to open up and just see the quality of the chips. Those were just both really small, dry sticks. So that looks about consistent with what I saw reviews on it. Small, really thin little twigs and sticks. It's not going to do too well with, but you could like run them back through and maybe it would chop them up a little bit more. But the thicker parts you could see was very finely chopped up, which is good. I want small, really small bits that will decompose a lot faster than larger chunks. Now for a much bigger stick. We tested it out for that reason. And that's why we test these things. Okay, so it did end up chopping it. I knew it would. That thing wasn't big enough. I think it was just a really hard wood. So it just took 2 tries. I was able to just pull it out of, I turned it off, unplugged it, and then just pulled it out, and then plugged it back in. Well, no, I checked the blade. I opened up the thing and then checked the blade to make sure there was nothing in there, and it wasn't. And so then I just closed it all back up and then plugged it back in and turned it back on, and you just saw I just did it and it worked fine. And it's finally chopped up. Okay, overall, I'm satisfied. I'm happy with the chipper shredder so far. And I think I have enough pieces, shredded pieces, to go ahead and mix some of that in with the compost. And then I'll add some of that grass that's in the black bags. Okay, I got a good mixture, good layers of grass and then layers of wood chips. Hopefully it works really well. I mean, if it works really well, then that's gonna be perfect and it's easy as long as my chipper shredder continues to work for me. If it doesn't work very well, then I'll come up with something else. But again, I'm just testing things, just trying to figure out the easiest way for me with the resources that I have to produce really good compost. So I'm gonna probably just call this one done, and I ordered a tarp. I'm gonna put a tarp over the top up here to keep the rain out so that I can control the moisture level. And I'm gonna let this sit for at least like a month, and then I'll flip it over into this bin here, over here that you can't see. And then I'll begin filling this one up again. And hopefully it works, because I really need some compost. And I think it's starting to rain a little bit. It's almost dinner time anyway. I'm gonna call it for today. I am done. I'm gonna leave you with these beautiful sunflowers that have multiple heads on them. There's a dog barking. I don't know where he is.